My name is Ryan Sprague. When I was 12 years old, my father and I stared up into the night skies, and we saw something extraordinary staring back. And whatever it was sent me on a search to find answers to the UFO phenomenon and beyond. And that search continues somewhere in the skies. Coming to you from SpectreVision Radio, the Somewhere in the Skies podcast features conversations, interviews, and roundtable discussions with scientists, scholars, historians, pop culture figures, and prominent UFO researchers. We also hear directly from you, the listeners, about your personal UFO sightings and encounters. Lastly, we bring you fascinating and engaging case histories. Each week is something different and truly unique. Somewhere in the Skies doesn't seek to just entertain. We seek the truth. We bring new questions and theories to the table. We bring new voices to the discussion. And we attempt to possibly find some answers to those mysteries that lay somewhere in the skies. New episodes are every Monday through SpectreVision Radio on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Kelly Chase. 4 years ago, my life cracked open. I experienced something I couldn't explain, and I haven't stopped chasing it since.
And I'm J. Christopher King. I've been having anomalous experiences my whole life. This work, it's not just what I do, it's who I am.
This season on Cosmosis, we're going into the field, to places where the veil is thin and where the signal of the phenomenon breaks through. We're meeting the researchers, experiencers, and witnesses who live in its wake.
From UFOs to near-death experiences, from cryptids to channeling, we're diving into the high strangeness that challenges everything we think we know. Because reality isn't just weird, it's weirder than you can imagine.
We don't know what we'll find, but we're going to follow the signal wherever it leads. And we're taking you with us.
Be sure to follow us on Spotify so you never miss an episode of Cosmosis, coming to you from SpectreVision Radio.
SpectreVision Radio.
Telemetry in launch condition.
Well, some other observers.
Hey, it's late night.
It's late night on the astral plane, where it's never too late. With your host, Ryan Singer.
It's more fun to believe.
Paranormal Corp is the industry leader in all things paranormal. Paranormal Corp is dedicated to bringing you, the consumer, the best in all paranormal equipment, foodstuffs, and experience. With the most stringent and rigorous quality control standards, Paranormal Corp provides the highest quality of paranormal goods and services. Need a scary but not too scary ghost for your child's 4th birthday party? We've got you covered with the underworld's largest roster of deceased entertainers, all available for booking now. Looking for the perfect dining set for your haunted mansion? Paranormal Corp sources from only the finest of possessed ceramics and china. Don't forget that we also staff the world's leading professionals for on-site therapists, teachers, and surrogate parents for those who need a break from the everyday rigors of the living world. Paranormal Corp is your one-stop everything and everyday source for anything you need and everything your future corpse could want. The one thing the living and the dead both agree on. If you want to feel alive, call Paranormal Corp today.
666-666-6666.
Welcome to another voyage. Late night on the astral plane. Late night on tap, as I like to call it. Half words, half acronym. I've got the one, the only Matthew Jackson back here with me. I mean, where do we begin? I mean, do we want to talk about paraholics.com? Do we want to talk about ITC voices? Do we just want to talk about the ITC work that Matthew has been doing for all these years, or the projects, as you probably well know, that he and I are working on together? And we will be revisiting soon. Well, I guess soon, early in 2026 of this year. And there's all kinds of things. But I want to, Matt, first of all, thank you for joining me
Hey, it's the
on.
first time on the new format, dude. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, that's right. I can't
Yeah.
believe it. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to have you on the new format. And as always, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that we are brought to you today with limited commercial interruptions by Paranormal Corp, the industry leader in paranormal consumerism, research, and understanding. So thank you to the executives over at Paranormal Corp for sponsoring the program again. You probably heard their commercial at the top of the show, or maybe in the middle. I'm not sure when we put those in. We'll have to talk to Nigel, but Nigel gets to pick when the commercials go. So, but I want to start you with this, Matthew. This is from one of Matthew's latest entries over at paraholics.com, and this is a direct quote from his writing. I was going to scroll, but okay. So this is from the latest and the greatest. Unholy influence, the exorcist, the spirits, and the rituals of banishment across cultures. This is from October 27th of last year, 2025, when this article dropped, if I'm not mistaken. But I want to just a quote or just a line or two from this, and I just want to see where this conversation goes from here. Possession in this modern context isn't just about ghosts. Ghosts kind of sounds like I said goats there. Wouldn't that be crazy if goats possessed humans? That'd be fun. Possession in this modern context isn't just about ghosts. It's about what owns us, which I think is a really fascinating and fresh perspective about we want to take a modern look at, or even peer through the lens of historical context when it comes to possession. And let's elaborate a little bit on that. And maybe let's get you to, because you're talking about overstimulation, you're talking about fractured attention and identity crisis specifically, as some of the aspects that kind of play into this. So walk me through what gets you to this point of view.
Well, there are a lot of people who obviously do not believe in demonic possession. And so there does seem to be some context though for things that just consume us and fill our minds. And so, whatever it is that latches onto you and takes control of your consciousness and drives you that way, really is a type of possession. And therefore, whatever possesses us technically becomes, especially if it's something that's unhealthy, becomes our demon. So, you could look at exorcisms as a way of just letting go of whatever might be holding us, like any type of, thing that we need to detach from to be more clear. And um, so, like, in respects to like the paranormal, there's so many differing viewpoints on um, how things may work and so forth. And like myself, I've landed more on the side of idealism and consciousness being the backing of everything. So therefore, if consciousness is what is behind our existence and our reality, how much of our minds are playing into what possesses us. And so just taking ownership of, taking the time to take ownership of what fuels us, what drives us, what holds us, and what we need to let go in order to further expand our consciousness and to, um, you know, um, a better experience here and on this plane. So I think that was what was more behind when I wrote that. It was kind of my perspective.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And it reminds me of, you hear this, bantied about by, people who used to maybe party really hard. They're like, I had my party friends and I had my friends, and you take away the party and you realize there's nothing in common, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I'd like to think that you and I are more than just idealism friends.
Yeah,
You and
yeah,
I
yeah.
are both hooked on the drug of idealism. That consciousness is, I think that's one of the things that you and I really, really, I mean, we line up on a lot of things, but the idealistic point of view from, approaching the world of the paranormal and phenomenon, high strangeness, anomalous activity, things like that. I think, approaching it from the idealism point of view is a huge, I don't know, it's a huge overlay in our point of views. And, I'd like to think that I also have conversations with people that I disagree with. I've had, I think both you and I know and actually research with materialists and
Mhm.
people who
Yeah,
are
yeah.
firmly entrenched in the world of materialism.
You cut out on me. I already lost that
Oh,
last part.
sorry. Like, so we both, we research with, we know, and we're friends with people who are hardcore materialists. Um, I guess the question would be then, um, is how do you find that balance? And do you think it's beneficial to an investigation, whether it's a short-term one night thing or a long-term investigation, to have those disparate points of view? Or do you think they actually sometimes will slow the process, trying to get to the heart of the matter?
I think it depends on if you're looking for Bigfoot.
Always, always. People are like, "When are you looking?" It's like, that AB always be selling. It's like,
Yeah,
always Bigfoot aware, like always be Bigfoot, like always be looking, always be squatching. You know what I mean? I mean,
yeah.
never miss an opportunity to look around a corner and see if the hairy guy's there.
That's right. I'm so open. I'm not closed-minded at all, and I think I think that's a good feature for myself as an investigator. Because you and I have even had deep dive conversations, even about equipment that various people may use in the field, and I might have a like strong opinion towards a certain piece of equipment, but even if it's a piece of equipment that I technically think might be junk, I'm still open to an anomalous event occurring because I can't quantify the paranormal truly works. So even if it's a dumb app that you're using on your phone, there's still a possibility that something may come through that would, be completely relevant to what you're doing that could just knock your socks off. So even when you're dealing with someone who's more of a, more of a in the materialistic point of view of the paranormal, I'm still open to entertain their thoughts and see if it expands me a little bit more. Or at the same time, I might show them something new. So I think the sharing is necessary when it comes to all this because we can come into this game experienced, but none of us leave experts. So I think it's very important to always bounce things off other people because I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't questions and listen to people that maybe initially I didn't agree with.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty healthy point of view. And I mean, my opinion on a thing or a person can change. I don't want to say at the drop of a hat, but usually for the better is what I mean by that. And even at a young age, I realized if somebody could make me laugh, I kind of was already endeared to them, right, to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. There's something human about humor, and maybe
Hmm.
it's no coincidence that those two words are so similar. I've never thought about that until just now, but which is now fascinating me. Um, but wow, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I do think that there are times where I'm like, if we can get everybody on the same page, get everybody launching from the same, foundation, we can get to the heart of the matter real fast, hopefully, right? And but then I'm reminded by like something like you're saying here. these different points of view, these different opinions on something actually can make you come at something from a different angle that you never would have considered. Because I'll get locked into stuff. I mean, at one point, one of our trips, I was like, I'm talking to a portal. I'm talking to a portal. This is what we're doing. I'm establishing communication with a portal. Like, I thought like 6 days, a 6-day trip was going to allow me to start having conversations with portals. And like, I just thought that we could do it then. Right. Didn't realize like, oh, you want to start a conversation with something. It's going to take a minute here. Right.
Right.
I mean, cause even one night, sometimes I don't even want to go do an investigation for a night at a place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Only because I just know that I'm going to feel like there wasn't enough time.
Correct.
And I'm just going to be and maybe that's because, we've been spoiled in being able to go to, certain places over time and spend like multiple days there.
Yeah, I believe we got that message loud and clear the last time we were in Florida. We were told we were spoiled.
Yeah, I was talking with Greg Feynman
that came
about
to
that the other
ITC.
day.
Yeah.
Greg Feynman brought that up to me the other day.
It's like, enough's never enough.
And you know what? And I gotta say, it's you slowly but surely, once you dip your toes into the hot tub of the paranormal, the rest of your body is like, hey, I'm cold too, baby. Let me get in there. Right. Why should the toes get all the fun? And
yeah, absolutely.
Next thing you know, you're fully immersed. And you come up for air a little bit later. Next, it's been 5 years and you're like, oh, wait, okay. I've been spending all my time thinking and doing about this. And you kind of shed the other parts of your life.
Yeah. I should get a job. I should get my will written.
Yeah. No doubt. There is a great website. I think it's freewill.org. And it is what it says. It's a free will. So I think I filled out a free will. I think I'm going to be planted as a tree, I think is what it was. I can't remember. We can talk about that later, but I'm going to haunt the shit out of you. You know that. But
man, please do.
Okay. So speaking of haunting, let's try to get back. I want to get back to this possession thing. You can find yourself in, different periods of life or different areas, whether it's family members, friends, people you don't even know, having these intense discussions, one might even call them heated arguments, about points of view, right? And the fractured attention world that we now live in. You can live in different realities. I think we all kind of know that. And I think that there is a part of me that, is fascinated by this, what you're writing about here, because whether we want to admit it or not, there's a dog in the fight for us about being right. And part of me sometimes wonders, when I can feel myself getting a little heated up, I can wonder like, and I'm like actively focusing and trying to become more chill in the moment, for lack of a better phrase, settle down and just become a little less emotionally attached to the conversation. That there does feel like another dog in the fight. There feels like I'm fighting, like I'm the dog fighting for someone. I'm being handled, right? I'm the dog in the cage that gets taken to the to the abandoned warehouse, and its master lets it out of its cage for 5 minutes to see if I can beat the other dog, right? And none of it should be happening,
right?
And I understand what you mean by that, because not that I'm possessed. I don't think I've ever felt, in the traditional sense of the word, possessed, like while I'm having an argument. But I think we all can be overcome with, anger or frustration or whatever it is sometimes, and just be like, oh gosh, I really feel like I wasn't being myself there.
Yeah. Get a divorce.
I got to get married first. But
well, I mean, you'll get it.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I've never gotten married, because fear of
never been possessed.
Yeah.
Fear of possession.
It's like, my demon is, the demons out there are going to be like, no, she doesn't get half of me. If you split your possessions after a divorce, like that's a funny skit, actually.
That is.
A couple who
That
are
is.
both possessed by multiple spirits and ghosts and demons or whatever end up getting a divorce, and there's a court battle over the possessions. That's really
Hilarious.
funny. I'm gonna make a
That is
note of
good.
that. I'm gonna
Yeah, you can write that
divorce.
down.
I'm gonna make a note of that. We got there together on that one. Divorce, possessions, ghosts. That's enough to remind me. Now, when you think of, or what were you gonna say?
I was just reflecting back to this article and the whole event that led to it. I mean, I just found it so interesting. Also, this just all the different cultures and their different approaches to the whole possession thing. I mean, it's kind of a universal thing throughout our history, different cultures, religions that have some sort of right for this type of thing. And I mean, you can look at it in like a literal sense or the metaphorical, which yeah, that's the path I chose to take. But at the same time, some of the ITC results that I got through this whole thing that because the whole story was based around the Exorcist story, but some of the ITC results that I got was more reflective of the actual story that the Exorcist was based upon, which I found just completely fascinating. And it almost made me feel that the spirits that are in the bookstore that you've been in were more so rejecting the Exorcist book as a misrepresentation of you know maybe their perspective or how they feel like the event really went. I mean, because they kind of they try to throw the book out the door, and so it just
I mean,
became
it's
a
wild.
really it's a cool little story, and the fact that I actually was able to go there with a priest at the same time just made it all so much better. So it was a fun and very interesting little investigation that we did.
Yeah, well, to say the least. I mean, when you're talking about, I mean, when you try to unravel the layers of this paranormal onion, it's wild, and
Yeah.
um, it's really worth everybody's time to go check that out, and we'll definitely link that in the show notes. We're gonna take a quick break. As a reminder, Paranormal Corp is the sponsor of today's special episode with Matthew Jackson. All your paranormal needs. Literally can be shipped to you instantaneously. So, but I'll let Paranormal Corp tell you about all that stuff. But in the meantime, we got some other commercials. We'll try to cut it down to 2 commercial breaks, thanks to Paranormal Corp and the corporate paranormal funding that I've succumbed to. Clearly over here, living in the lap of luxury. So we're going to take a quick break. Patreon.com/Ryan Singer. $3 a month gets you all the goodies over there. And all the good stuff, and commercial free. So we're going to be right back with Matthew Jackson talking about ITC, possession, and who knows what else we're going to get into. And boom, we've returned. So I got Matthew Jackson with me, and even though we're doing podcasting, I still do the old, that's an old radio, the old radio trick. It's not a trick really, but it's a rule of radio, right? Every time you come back from break, you have to remind the listeners who you're talking to, right? In case someone just, did you hear that?
I did not.
Maybe it was just a horn outside. I was seeing a flashing light in the background here earlier. Anyway, it could just be me. Yeah, I don't know. Something spooky is always happening. I got to say, okay, let's go into this. Forget about the radio talk. That's kind of boring. Me talking about how radio stations used to do things. More and more people, friends of mine who aren't paranormal junkies, have in the last 2 weeks started messaging me about paranormal things happening to them. And I mean, it's not like my phone's blowing up all day long, but it feels like the end of the year, Oh yeah, there's a car outside. Sorry, but it does. We just had the winter solstice not long ago, I suppose. Um, in December 21st, and but it just seems to be maybe the end of the year and the holidays and all the travel that's happening and things like that. Are you noticing any kind of spike in paranormal activity by
Yeah,
chance?
I have actually, because really people think that Halloween is the crescendo of spooky season. That's just the beginning. I mean, it really, Halloween's the kickoff, and we go all through the holidays, and past the winter solstice to get through truly the spookiest time of year. I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine this evening who she lives alone in a house where her husband died, and it was her parents' home as well. And I don't know if both of her parents died at home or not, but there have been a number of deaths in this old house. And anyway, she started remodeling one of her bathrooms, and she'd broken up some of the bathroom tile. And the reason why she's so concerned is and she lives there by herself. She would go into the bathroom and do some work to try to chip up the tile. But on the other side of the bathroom were the bathroom rugs, and they were just laid out flat like they normally would be, like right outside the bathtub. And she would leave the room and come back, and she would notice that the bathroom rugs had been slid up against the side of the bathtub and like crumpled up. And she's like, I must be hallucinating. I must be, I must have misremembered that they were flat. And she'd flatten it back out, leave the room, come back, and they'd be slid against the bathtub again. And she got to the point where she was so spooked, she flattened out the bathroom rugs, shut the door just to make sure that some animal, like one of her cats or something, wasn't running in there. She said she waited, she went back and she opened the bathroom door. Rugs were fine. They were just like she left them, flat. And she shut the door again, went about it, doing her, bits around the house, went back and checked again. Rug slid against the bathtub. She's like, "What is going on? Come fix this." and, and so, yeah, I mean, I've heard reports. I mean, as you may notice, I'm no longer in the ITC bunker that we would normally interview me in. I'm now in what I'm calling the esoteric attic. And I have had, I mean, this farmhouse I'm in right now was built in like 1890. And I've heard footsteps up here. I've heard all kinds of weird things. At one point, I feel like my sheets got jerked up down on me while I was sleeping at night. But yeah, I mean, I do feel like there's an uptick. So I think it's something about this time of year. Of course, I'm in here surrounded with all this ITC equipment that has been in some of the more most haunted locations, crazy places. I mean, could it be
In the
residual
world?
energy? Yeah, could it be residual energy hanging around from that, or could it be the fact that I'm just in an old house where people have passed away? And I really don't know. I've been
Or
doing
could it just be
experiments up here though.
the ho hum normal stuff, spirits of the deceased? Like like the way you said that, like, "Oh, it could be all this residual energy from these ITC devices, or it could just be, ghosts from here."
Just a
Like,
just a
you know,
freaking ghost.
just a freaking. I mean, I don't know what it would take for a true hardcore skeptic to just kind of, have the crowbar of their mind, have the crowbar on their mind,
Mhm.
just, pry it open. But,
Yeah,
other than an experience, a spontaneous paranormal experience, potentially, or something
hmm
like that, or, enough authority, enough, perceived authority figures talking about the existence of and reality of.
yeah,
It seems to me, just from conversations I've had, that, to be honest with you, I don't love having, not on this podcast, but about just from something I hear more and more and more. You just can't believe anything anymore. We are descending into like a world of people don't believe they can
yeah,
believe anything that's ever been told to them, said, written down. Victors write the history books. That line, right? And
yeah.
to where now you have people literally questioning every single thing that's ever been said that has happened in the world. And then if you push back at all on any of this, you get what? You don't think it's okay to question things?
Hmm.
It's like, sure, it's okay to question things, but how about we do it piecemeal a little bit instead of questioning every single thing simultaneously? Because guess what? You're never going to have the time to become educated or smart enough to learn about every single thing that's ever been taught to us or told to us, et cetera, to be able to prove it
Yeah.
or not. Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of wild right now.
Yeah, and I think with the advent of AI and the direction that that's going, I mean, it's just everybody is becoming increasingly cynical. And so it's going to become even harder on our end to, I mean, if your goal is to try to change minds or sway hearts and get people to believe in the paranormal, I think that ladder just keeps getting higher and higher to try to climb because with the way things are and as convincing as it looks, I mean, we're going to get to the point where we're not going to believe anything we see or hear. And at one point, we'll probably be so in the rabbit hole, we'll wind up having an AI president and we don't even know he's not real. I mean, you just, or they aren't real. I mean, everything is going so fast and people are, I think they're exhausted by it. So as paranormal researchers, I think we have to make a decision. Are we trying to prove the existence of this stuff, or are we using it as a personal tool to expand ourselves and our spirituality and network with like-minded people to just have the experience versus stressing out on worrying with people who are closed off from possibilities. Personally, I think it's time for us to get two planets and just separate.
A separatist movement.
I mean,
Well,
they say I'm a dreamer, but I'm.
but you're not the only one. I got to
That's
tell
right.
you, you've given me this vision of the future, Matthew, and I don't think it's the vision you've intended. Hear me out.
Okay.
When you said that people aren't going to believe anything they see or hear anymore, I think, yeah, specifically that could be, possibly true because, like I said, it's kind of already happening.
Yeah.
Specifically, we're talking about from the television, from the computer, from the phone, and to some degree, maybe in real life. But what I would say to that is, in this rising tide of skepticism and disbelief of the truth of reality, there is an opening for the paranormal experiencer. I
Right.
mean, people are going to be seeking real life, tangible experience,
Hmm.
things
Yeah.
that they are actually participating in physically. Now, and I get this whole, like we're moving into 5D or whatever else, right? Or, the new
Hmm.
dimension and things like that. But guess what? There's a reason we have physical bodies. I don't know what that reason is. To experience the physical world, maybe, right? That's one possibility. But I think the the grounding element of a physical experience with our own eyes, ears, or senses of any kind, whether it's something you feel like you feel, even though you don't see it and you might not hear it, a sheet being jerked down from you while you're laying in bed, right?
Hmm.
Um, that to me is there seems to be a big opportunity, and something just flew by your screen. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, that did.
Okay, it was a bug or something.
Yeah, a ladybug.
Oh, okay, okay. And so I was like, "Damn, dude, we're having a
Valley.
fucking paranormal experience right now." Um, I think there's a real opportunity for the paranormal to present itself, and I think that it will be eager to do so. The more and more people who are going to be getting away from the digital, living in their phone. My goddaughter, she dropped a word on me over the holidays that I'd never heard before. She called someone who won't stop looking at their phone a screenager instead of a
Really?
teenager. So this is what the kids are calling other kids who won't stop being on their phone. Which, should you shame people for their behavior? Probably not. But this behavior, I'm all about shaming it, right? Like,
Yeah.
people shouldn't be getting their oxygen from their phone. It's like some people, looks like they're breathing from their phone, but because they're just always like, right? But like a screenager, which is something I love. Now, granted, people have to be on their phones or computer to be able to hear what we're doing right now. But we're not promoting. I've never been promoting that. But so to me, there's going to be a pushback. I guess this is an incredibly long way of saying there's going to be this pushback against the digital and the curated experience. And people are going to
Yeah,
be looking for the
and
tangible.
yeah. Well, like to your point, if you're someone, skeptic who has that spontaneous experience, that's the thing that's going to change your mind. I think my whole thing was for the paranormal community, the researchers to try and create content just to pull these people in. I think it's going to become less and less effective. These people have to experience it for themselves to come over to our side. And on our end, maybe put our screens down sometimes and just experience the magic of the exchange and the reflection of the paranormal and what we can gain from it versus trying to document everything. I mean, unless you're making a beautiful documentary, of course.
But
And
this is for a fact because obviously you've been there. When we're in Florida, every once in a while, we're told no phones, no nothing.
yep,
And
absolutely.
it's hard. It's hard for some of us
Yeah.
to actually
I think
abide by that.
Yeah. Oh, it's hard for me too. I mean, it really is. And I
Yeah.
think there are even moments if you ever went back and watched the skull experiments. I mean, there were times where they were told, to turn off the light, and let things happen. I mean,
And Skole, like this is Skole, named after a city, right? Like just for people
yeah,
listening,
and
because it's over.
yeah, and
Was it
maybe
in?
Scotland or something.
Yeah, it's not like the
England.
skull, like Kong Skull Island or something like that. But
No,
yeah,
that's
the skull
skull.
experiments.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really great example.
Or the skull experiments I did with my cousins when we would get my grandpa's dip. That was different too, but we won't go
That was just trying to get a
there.
buzz from fiberglass and nicotine. But oh man, I can't believe how long I dipped. Um, how many years I did that to my poor gums, but and tongue, but and cheek. I didn't want to leave the cheeks out. But yeah, I do think that there's a real opportunity to experience the magic of the world. Now, do I think there's going to be some giant pagan revolution and renaissance? Of you know people going back to worshiping the sun and these kinds of things like on a mass scale and a mass level. I don't know that, but I will, because I do believe with the advent of open discourse and communication with ETs and some of those other things that will happen. I think we might just be beyond becoming sun worshipers again. But I do think that there will be a pushback against the digital age. And like you said, it's the skepticism, just the what was the word you use? It kind of makes people grumpy.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's, and the scientific studies are out. Social media decreases happiness and self-esteem and all
Hmm.
these things. It's bad for our mental health.
Yeah, it
And
really
yet
is.
many of us have been convinced that we need it for our careers, and so we stay on there when, in fact, we probably don't at all. But and who needs a career anyway when you can just try to spend all your time talking to the dead or the interdimensional?
Hey, so speaking of pushing back against the digital prize for you. And the surprise is,
Wait.
I've talked about this.
Okay. No, I'm just like I'm shocked here. Okay. I'm
Okay,
not
all
good with
right, yeah,
surprises sometimes, but okay. Okay.
yeah. Well, clothes are staying on. Clothes are staying on.
Damn it.
So yeah, no. So a few years ago, I told you about a certain device that I have, I'm a owner of, and as a matter of fact, think it may be the only one in existence. It's the device known as the Whisper Box. And the
Yes.
Whisper Box is something that I had in my possession. I bought it in 2017. I could never get it to function and do things properly. Well, I sent it to our friend, audio engineer and scientist, Joshua Shawn.
Yes.
He kept it and studied it for 2 years, did all the proper measurements,
Are you
and
telling me?
this little analog device
Are you
is
telling
now
me?
back my hands, and he cracked it. He found where the voices are inside the Whisper Box.
Oh, Joshua
And
Shawn, you beautiful bastard, you. What?
yeah,
You've got the Whisper Box back.
I got the Whisper
Now,
Box back.
there's so many things I want to talk about that I won't right now regarding this.
Okay. Okay.
But okay, keep going.
Well, I just wanted to say, first off, this is an analog device, but we
Yeah.
will be doing like digital processing, some of the same techniques that we use for like, like Prism along those type of lines to really hear the voices. But after Josh has worked on it, I mean, there is a way once it's turned on and you can hear some of the voices sometimes come directly through the box, which is amazing. It was never like this before. But the thing I want to explain more than anything is this box magic. And the reason it's magic is because Andrew Openlander that created this device, it was just a concept that he had and he built it and he was never able to get anything out of it. No voices, no articulation, no spirit communication whatsoever. But for some reason, intuitively, he wound up naming it the Whisper Box. I get a hold of this device in 2017, send it to Joshua Shawn 2 years ago. Joshua Shawn does all the studies and measurements on it. And when this thing starts talking, guess what it does?
It whispers.
It whispers.
Oh my God.
And
Are you
there
setting me
is
up right
just
now? Are you like this is a setup?
no, this is for real.
This is
And
fucking great.
so, yeah, one of a kind device. And we're gonna be taking this bad boy or girl. I don't know. I don't
This
and
bad box.
we're this bad box and we're gonna take it to Florida. And
Oh my
we're
gosh.
gonna see what can happen. And the cool thing about it is because, a lot of times when we're using our ITC equipment, it's kind of disconnected from us, I mean, we don't really include our bodies and as a conduit for the device. This thing with the Tesla rods is made to be interacted with. And so we will have direct input and influence over the sessions as we are, doing our research. So I'm
So
super
so
excited.
this is really exciting.
Yeah. There's
He
no
cracked
radio in
it.
this.
He cracked
He
it.
cracked
So
it. He cracked it.
what did he crack? Like you got to
Well,
tell me.
there's no radio in this. All this thing does is essentially create like a white static feedback loop internally inside the box. That's all it does. So it's not really picking up anything of outside influences unless you use the little microphones to try to add your own voice into it. So it's essentially you can use it as like a closed system. And so, but in those frequencies that it generates, he was able to fine tune the measurements to find where the communication actually is happening inside the device. So that's
So we
essentially what
know
he
how
did.
to adjust those knobs to get
We
to
know
the
how to
right.
adjust it. There are like I think he identified 9 different settings, but through the digital processing process that we will hook this up to like a laptop and run it through, we'll
Oh,
be
it
able
runs
to
through a. Oh,
extract.
so you can run it through a laptop like a MIDI device almost to a certain degree or
Yeah,
whatever
and
those.
and you
Yeah.
don't have to though. It's just still really hard to hear, but you'll have way more success if you process it that way. You'll find and hear what the communication is, and it
Can
is
you
it is a talker.
can we hear it?
Can you hear that?
No. Oh wait, I heard that. I heard
Can you hear
no. I
that?
don't hear. I don't hear anything right now. I hear maybe a loop of my voice. Is all I hear. Is it like is there it's like a white noise static constant, or is it low? I heard something twice, but okay. No, I don't hear you at all.
Yeah. Okay. It just sounds like crackly static.
Okay, got it. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And
So much more effective when used through a digital processor.
yeah, absolutely. But you now, at least after Josh, like kind of tightened a few things up, you at least have the potential to maybe hear some of the whispers in real time without any of the digital processing, which is something that was
Wow.
impossible before.
We've been talking
So
about
he,
this for 2 years.
yeah, yeah. I mean, basically Josh Rashan let me play with Prism until he was able to finish this up because this was always the goal. And Prism isn't going away. Prism Light is not going away, but this is just like an added tool to the arsenal. So
Oh my god. Wow. A
so
Merry
you hit it here.
Christmas
You heard it
indeed.
here, folks. Yeah, Happy New Year.
The one and only whisper box in existence.
Yep.
Leave it to you to have these one of a kind ITC devices. And just in case you're listening, we're talking about instrumental transcommunication, the ability to hopefully make and establish contact and conversations with something that is able to manipulate whether it's the color spectrum, the noise spectrum, whatever it is, or through static and these electronic devices, and to be able to communicate with us, to be able to grab these spirit voices or interdimensional, whatever they are, out of thin air, essentially. We were talking about this the other day, me and some friends, like, or someone brought up, they're like, it's a fun game to play. Like, you look around a room and you just randomly point to an object and be like, how long would that take you to figure out how to make if it never existed? And I can literally, without exaggeration, point to every single thing that I can see with my eyes, whether they're clothes I'm wearing or something sitting in front of me as simple as this pen. I'd need 100 lifetimes to be
Yeah.
able to figure out how to make this pen. Look at all the different components inside of it. And it's a really fun exercise to just remember. It's almost like a whimsy infusion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you drop this box off, one of a kind, made by someone, and Joshua Sean spends 2 years and figures out that just blows my mind. Blows
Yeah.
my mind.
It blew his
I
mind too. It was not an easy device to because it is, analog. It's so influenced by, any type of electromagnetic interference as you move it around, And so in order for him to take the measurements, he had to get like specialized equipment and it was yeah, it took him a while, but man, the guy really put in some work. So we owe Andrew Openlander of Chicago Spirit Wave, whoever had the crazy idea to even try this device, and then for Joshua Sean to figure it out. So,
Have you reached
and
out
just
to
the
Andrew
way
to let him know that
Andrew goes in and out of being active, and
okay.
I've tried to reach out to him, but one day he'll resurface, and he's going to see this thing melting minds. So, I'm looking forward to it.
Wow. And just from conversations you and I have had about this over the last 2 years, wow. I mean, I feel like I should get on priceline.com right now and just fly to this haunted farmhouse where you are, and I'll be there in 6 hours.
Deal.
Yeah. So you're
There's
not
plenty of room up
working
here.
tomorrow, are you? Uh
No, come
okay,
on down.
good. So I can be there by 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Man, that is really, really cool. Let's take our last break. And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna put a bow on this bad boy with Matthew Jackson at the Whisper Box. I mean, we're definitely gonna have to give people a taste of this Whisper Box next time I see you. Because actually, we'll see. We'll see if that comes up when we come back. One more break. Patreon.com/Ryan Singer. $3 a month. No commercials ever. You can be a free patron. You can be $1. You can do 20. You could do Are you the person in Arkansas who won the Powerball all by yourself for $1.7 billion? You could be a patron for $10,000 a month if you wanted. And then I would just be a full-time paranormal nut job in a paranormal bunker somewhere. Or like, we would just we'd get our compound together. Okay. Hey, champagne wishes and spectral dreams. We're gonna be right back. Okay, we are back, and I think you're back. I know I'm back, and I know Matthew is back. So let's get into it. You're working on a new thing right now. A new video, a new article, right?
Yep.
Do you want to give me just to give me a taste of it?
Sure. Let me grab something real quick. Let me grab another
Yeah,
device.
you go grab that, and I'll just while you're
Okay.
doing that, I'm going to remind people about the wide array and wonderful the wonderful products that Paranormal Corp provides to everyday households every day. So, if any of your paranormal needs, make sure you think of Paranormal Corp. Okay, so we're back. What is this doohickey? I just said doohickey for the first time ever, I think.
This is the IDC 2K reverse Reaper box.
The reverse Reaper box. Okay.
Yeah. And this is a box that I had commissioned from DC Devices and Underground Technomancers. They collaborated on making this device for me because I don't know if you remember, but this 2025, I went to Europe. And some of the challenges I had in Europe involved being able to take my devices with me on airplanes. So I basically came up with a whole punch list of things that I needed to make a box more portable to travel internationally or just like on airlines in general. So these guys came through and built an incredible freaking device. And this thing is a talker. I've only had it out one time. I took it out to Step Cemetery, which I've told you about many times on Halloween. Mm. A lot of times, the first few times that you use an ITC device, it may not exactly warm up. It may not get conversational. This thing out of the gun just started talking immediately. So, shot a little video, and I'm going to promote the guys who built this box and just kind of show it off a little bit. But they're literally, if you're just into like a spirit box, there's literally nothing that you cannot do with this device. And if you want to take it, on an airplane, lithium battery, everything detaches. It's very smartly made. And, so yeah, it's fully customizable. There's so many different features and bells and whistles to this that it's incredible. So that's what I'm writing my new article on.
Okay. Now, now watching this, I'm just like, I can't fly next time I go to Florida. I feel like I gotta now I want to take everything, right? And I'm in
Mhm.
this conundrum of like being, 2,700 miles away or whatever it is, and just being like, I could be there literally in 6 hours, or it could take me 4 days, 3.5 days, right?
Right.
And or I guess I could just check 3 bags
Right.
and get flagged as secure and they all get flagged and searched through, because I just want to take every piece of electronic equipment I've ever had and then just never sleep again and use them and have the energy to use them all. But when it comes to these devices,
Mhm.
you seem to have an insatiable curiosity for pushing the boundaries and pushing the limits of ITC. Meanwhile, being anchored in the history of ITC research. How do you
Yeah.
find that?
You know, anything I've ever been involved in, whether it be because like I've been heavily involved in the past with like performance poetry. And I cut hair for a living. No matter what my interests have always been, I always feel like in order for me to do my craft or whatever my hobby is, to do it justice, I need a full understanding of where it came from. And so it was really natural for me to, once I really, moved on from like ghost hunting and really kind of sank my teeth into ITC's my lane. It I read books, I studied, I wanted to know about the people who came before me. I networked with people who Joshua Sean, people that are brilliant. I mean, I've just tried to absorb and learn as much as I can about it. And it seems like, especially with these boutique boxes, there's so much of, I think, the builder's influence and their intentions that kind of go into these devices. And every single device I have, I mean, I don't know if you can really see like this table I have going on back here, but that's just a sampling of a lot of the devices that I own. Kind of, I have a place to kind of display them now, and I have found that they often have their own personalities. And once I kind of figured that out, I always wanted to see how those different personalities, speaking, so to speak, of the boxes might react differently in different environments. So yeah, just my curiosity and my connection to the devices and my ability to make that bridge between me and the unseen, just it really kept me going over the years. And so I think that's where the drive ultimately comes from.
Yeah, and it's as you showed, as you panned, and if you're watching on video, you will see, for those who are listening and or watching, um, it takes me back to what we started this conversation about, and we're talking about possession in the modern context. And now I'm curious about you because you're talking about them having different personalities, like this Reaper box.
Hmm.
It looks like it's
Yes.
activated,
Yeah, I
and
just turned it on for a second.
and that Reaper box is in your possession. And if in
Correct.
fact it talks a lot, right?
Hmm.
Now
Yeah.
we're talking about this Reaper box and these other ITC devices as if they're their own entity. And
Hmm.
so like this is another aspect of possession to me, as far as not something possessing the Reaper box, but
Yeah.
you've
You
possessed.
know,
Now you possess the Reaper box. Like is that Reaper box having conversations with the other ITC devices when you're asleep, being like, this guy Matt, he's like in charge of all of us. Like he's controlling our lives.
it's like Toy Story.
Right? So like it's there's so many caveats and nuances to just the word possession, which is actually pretty fascinating. The
Hmm.
deeper you dive into the word possession, and
Well,
y-
and when I was like purely in the ghost hunting mode, I mean, why do you think I called my site Paraholics? I knew I was possessed by it. I mean, it owned me for a long time. It took a while to find that balance to try to stay healthy and just my pursuit of the unknown. So yeah, I think it's a two-way street. I mean, they always say that the phenomena is reflective. So, whatever you're putting out, you get back and vice versa.
yeah, for sure. It's I mean, it's pretty cool, and possession isn't far from obsession, and
Yeah.
they're essentially, and if you actually, this is fun. Maybe I don't know why I find this to be really fun. Let's write the word obsession down and then look at the word obsession, take the PO and then flip it and reverse it. You just do a flip vertical, flip horizontal. Guess what you've got? OB. You have an O and a B instead of a P and an O. Isn't that crazy? I mean, I'm looking at the
Mind
word
blown.
possession right now on the Paraholic site, and I'm just like, oh, make that a lowercase p. You turn that around, you've got the word obsession by just taking taking the top, take the beginning, flip it and reverse it. Boom. Now this possession is an obsession.
Is that what they said on the Belle Biv DeVoe song? Like, smack it, flip it.
Rub
But
it
I don't.
down,
I
oh
don't remember.
no.
Yeah.
The girl is gonna do me. Action took place. Hey, kind of wet. Don't forget. The J, the I, the M, the M, the Y. Now I need a body bag. Well, that's Poison. I went into Poison. Sorry, that's a
Yeah.
different song. Both of them great songs. Great songs. BBD, East Coast Philly. I mean, between Belle Biv DeVoe and Boys to Men, I mean, so many countless hours of joy from those musical masters. I love both of. God, you've taken me back into a time machine now. I was absolutely obsessed with BBD and Boys to Men, and
We're
God,
back to obsession.
Tony Braxton was probably one of my earliest crush. Like, I just had, like, I will never forget the lower drawer of my dresser that my brother and I shared in our room. I had their CDs, and I would just, like, stare at the Tony Braxton CD and just be like, God. Anyway, she was it was and still is amazing. But yeah, I mean, talk about obsession. Talk about obsession. Okay, so it is really cool, though, to think about, the journey and um, the different paths and the different spillways and the byways and the little canals that spill off from the initial journey, and all these side quests that we can go on, and sometimes a side quest
Yeah.
becomes the main quest, and the main quest, you can realize that it's no longer. I mean, I'm looking at the books on this bookcase right here. It's the Egyptian Hieroglyphic Dictionary, Volume 1 and 2. Right below that is
Mhm.
The Trickster and the Paranormal. Right below that is Bloodline of the Holy Grail. Right below that is The Second Ring of Power by Carlos Castaneda. And then The Easy Way to Stop Smoking, which Alan Carr, if you smoke, use that book. Magicians of the Gods by Graham Hancock. It's just like, these are all my books now. And it's like,
Right.
this wasn't who I thought I'd be.
Right. Well, and to that point, when I first took this Reaper out and I used it at the cemetery, one of the messages that came through, like, super clear, more so than a lot of the things that I perceived in the moment, was ghost.
Say that one more time.
And one of the messages that came through the most clear was being ghost, which is something that
Why is that
and
dropping out every time you say it? That's
it is.
twice. That is
Stop.
twice. Now, granted, the audio will be there because of the way we're recording this, but I'm telling
Okay.
you, in the moment, the message is dropping out after the word stop.
Really?
One more time. Third time's a charm.
Stop hunting ghost.
There it was. Stop
Okay.
hunting ghosts was the message.
Which, I primarily started off as what I would describe myself as a ghost hunter. And I had a huge shift in my pursuit of all this, to where anymore, I don't feel like I am a quote unquote ghost hunter. And the location that I was at just, I think, kind of reminded me of, my journey and my path and my exploration of the paranormal. And plus, I think that location's a little bitter for all the people who go there thrill seeking just to ghost. So I just found it a fascinating response that really made me reflect. And that's something I'm going to talk about in my voiceover, about how, the thought of just hunting ghosts solely, for me, seems a little silly. But that's from my personal experience. And I don't mean to, I don't berate people who are still there, because eventually they might wind up somewhere else. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
interesting.
And I understand it's a quick, easy, shorthand way to describe paranormal investigation for many people, and
Yep.
I don't begrudge them that, and for
Nope.
sure. But everybody I know who goes ghost hunting, and now I shouldn't say everybody, but the vast, overwhelming majority of anyone who I've ever met who's a quote unquote ghost hunter or would say that, they're paranormal investigators who really love it. And they all have their own reasons. We all have our own individual reasons for getting into the investigation of the anomalous and the paranormal. But um, it's it's pretty fascinating, and I've kind of loosened my stance on that as well. I used to do the joke like you can't hunt something that's already dead. Um, it's like ridiculous, like
Yeah.
just a guy on Instagram holding up nothing, like look what I got. Or like empty walls in your trophy room. I do think the future of paranormal investigation is going to be rocked pretty. It's going to be a pretty substantial rocking of the world. Now,
Yeah.
I think the further down the road of disclosure we go, I do know that a lot of paranormal investigators probably feel the same way, that you almost feel like you're almost maybe 1.5 steps ahead of the mainstream world when it comes to it. Now, this could be just self-delusional, kind of like we want to think this way, but I do honestly believe that in the next 5 years, maybe even that soon, like a lot of these devices that people from the outside looking in would be like, that is kind of ridiculous, right? I think they'll realize like, oh, wow, that's what people in the government are using, or like, oh, these things work, like when it becomes like disclosed, right? So, and I mean, just from personal experience with whether it's the Prism, and I can't wait to get into this Whisper box, and just maybe even an SB7, or
Yeah.
some of these other things. And you mentioned it earlier, even things that we might laugh at and think are ridiculous or don't have any faith in, maybe because the motives of someone who maybe created them, maybe just trying to make a bunch of money off people real quick as an app or something, right? Or whatever. You can't discount the ability of this higher intelligence, this spirit, this whatever, being able to manipulate those as well to communicate. Like, even if they're like, so it's so funny that we don't get to decide. We're not the
No,
boss. We're not the boss here.
we're babies.
Yeah. So it's really kind of funny, and it's humbling, and it's refreshing
Yeah.
all at the same time.
For real.
Yeah, and it's really funny to me. Well, Matthew, this has been great as always. I appreciate you jumping on and taking us on a voyage here on Late Night on the Astral Plane. Obviously, there'll be many more of these with you, as long as you're willing. To
Absolutely. I love what you've
jump on
done
the
to the
ship.
place.
I love what you've done to the place as well. So just a reminder to everybody, you can go to paraholics.com. I'm going to link all this stuff, right? And so you'll be able to see what we were talking about, and and share these with your friends if you think they'd find them enjoyable, if they're into the paranormal and the supernatural.
Don't forget Obscuravox.
Oh yeah,
Can't say it. Obscuravox. Yeah.
like obscuravox.com
Yeah.
as well. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to link all that. And it's going to be, you got to check out that article from October, and then the new video probably will have dropped by the time this is out, potentially. If not, it'll be soon after. But okay, well, buddy, I appreciate you. Can't wait to get back out there with you here in the near future. Really looking forward to that. And oh my God, the Whisper box. Oh baby. Oh,
It's gonna be rad, man.
It's going to be rad. And to everybody listening, thanks for being here. Remember, it's never too late out here on the Astral Plane to have, these kind of fun, interesting conversations about the supernatural and all things esoteric and weird. And patreon.com/Ryan Singer, no commercials ever. And if I don't see you, somewhere at a live show, which I don't really have any shows booked because I'm going to be full-time editing the Florida documentary, I guess I'll just have to see you at the watering hole on the Astral Plane.
Now receiving frequency transmission.
One of the most interesting ideas about ghosts was proposed by Andrew Lang, who was a fascinating polymath and author. He was one of the co-founders of the Society for Psychical Research, who took one of the first sort of forensic and scientific approaches to gathering and cataloging accounts of ghosts. And in 1897, he collected them in an amazing volume called The Book of Dreams and Ghosts. And in the Book of Dreams and Ghosts, Lang proposed the unique idea that ghosts may be the effect or the emanation caused by a dead person dreaming, and in effect projecting into the mind of those living. And that's a fascinating concept, that when you encounter what seems to be a ghost, you may actually be making contact with a dead person dreaming.
Transmission complete. Stay tuned to SpectreVision Radio. Stay.